Doing a top-down analysis before you take a trade is going to save you from a lot of losing trades. It's going to allow you to clearly see who's in control, buyers or sellers, and whether or not we're ready to make a first leg down or even a second leg down, or even if we're done pulling back to continue the trend that we're in. But before we get into any of my trades, if you guys want some nice, affordable instant funded or challenge accounts, I strongly recommend getting an account with Top 1 Futures as they just launched, and you can get 50% off of all their accounts by using code Manny. So today on ES, I took two trades. I took one rejection play off the handoff green view up that we see here, and then I took another bounce trying to get that rejection for the next leg lower off of the New York view app. But obviously, I was way too early in the shorts. So if we're looking at the 15-minute, I mean, clearly today is just a bearish day. We had that huge sell-off from yesterday. And then since about 6 o'clock at night, we solidified our spot below the daily view app. And we can just actually see that we have been making lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high, pretty much all session. So you want to be short. You don't really want to take longs. It'd be hard for me to take a long, especially knowing that I'm basically trading against the trend. But if we're looking at the 15-minute, we can see that our first short was in and around this area, and our second short was also around this area shortly after. Now, two things I want to notice about the 15-minute chart is that one, and the first short, I'm getting in way too soon because just look how this 15-minute bar closes. It closes breaking strongly above the handoff VWAP and also the New York anchored VWAP. And then the following bar, again, ends bullish. Even though it is red, just look at this wick down here telling me how much buyers were basically defending this area, kind of dragging price higher. If I would have just waited for this 15-minute bar to close, then I probably would have not taken the short because I'm seeing buyers stepping in on a bigger picture and sellers aren't really ready to kind of take price lower. And that's all through looking at the 15-minute. But of course, if I'm just kind of tunnel visioned on the lower time frame, which I can't lie, like I still occasionally get tunnel vision on lower time frame, like on days like today, then you're going to think that, hey, this rejection could play out perfectly. And also this rejection could play out perfectly because on the lower time frame, we see that buyers attempt to take it. They fail, try to take it again. They fail, and you're going to think it's going lower. But again, if we're looking at the 15-minute time frame, we understand that it's not the right time yet. And then again, we see here once more, buyers try to take price above the New York and they fail, and it looks pretty good. It looks like it wants to kind of reject. But again, I'm getting in mid 15-minute candle, not really taking the 15-minute into consideration, only getting sucked in and induced on the lower time frame, and then we get stopped out. And that's two losses back to back within a very short time frame. What I should have done is waited for sellers to actually show me that they are back in control, buyers are exhausted, and price is ready to make a second leg lower. And the only reason I can confidently say that I can see this is, again, through looking at the 15-minute for that timing and then going back to the lower time frame to kind of find that sniper entry. Now, we can also see on the 15-minute that we don't see sellers step in until 12:30. Once we get at that 12:30 candle, we close out this 15-minute bar and we get a nice bearish 15-minute closure below the daily VWAP, we can confidently say that, okay, this is a nice lower high. Price tried to go take the daily VWAP. It failed because we quickly, just following this bullish candle, we made a bearish closure right below the daily VWAP. And we can also see the shelves that are being built for the lower highs. So we have lower high here, and then this is our second lower high. So we have one leg and then two leg. So that's what we should kind of expect, right? And we see this basically playing out almost perfectly on the 15-minute. We see buyers take price, we fail, and then we're ready to come back down to make that second leg. And this is a very nice, healthy pullback to make that second leg. But you have to wait for confirmation that the pullback is complete and price is moving lower. Don't try to predict that, hey, the pullback is done, now let me get in like I did here. Because if I'm being sucked in and induced on these lower time frames time after time, boy, it's going to be really hard making money in these markets. So I really have to wait for confirmation on the higher time frame that we're done pulling back. And the way I can do that is if I can just get a little bit of bearish price action for at least 50 minutes. We see, again, buyers take this daily VWAP. This is a key level we want to pay attention to that kind of dictates our bias. If we're below daily VWAP, we want to sell. If we're above it, we want to buy. Especially when the New York and daily are so close together like this, we kind of want to treat them in alignment and just trade with these VWAPs. If I would have waited for this 15-minute candle closure, just playing off the 15-minute chart, I mean, I would have gotten in, let's see, anywhere like around here is a good spot to get in. And then you can have your stop loss, again, just covering this lower high, because you really wouldn't want price to go above that, because if we break this lower high right here and we get above the daily VWAP, well, then it's just like, okay, we have no more key levels. All the key levels now are below us playing as support. And the next area of resistance we can expect is the previous day's New York all the way up here. So essentially, you'd want to be long from the daily to the previous New York. But if we're below the daily, then you'd want to be short below that. And so typically, I mean, you could take a trade just like this, just riding the second leg lower. And then whenever you want to take profit, I mean, you could just get that 1R. So 1R would just look like kind of like around here. This will be 1R. And that looks like a fairly decent trade. Now, again, for extra confirmation, let's say you want to really make sure that price can make its way below the New York. Well, if I wanted to be really patient and honestly a bit more disciplined, what I could wait for is the breakdown back below the New York VWAP, which is the blue anchor VWAP right here, and then wait for the break and retest. As soon as we retest and then fail, boom, we get in. Stop would be kind of wide, to be honest. But again, it's a really volatile day, so you have to expect wider stops. And then just make sure your stop loss is covering that higher low. And then basically, as soon as you get in, as long as you get a good fill price, you're basically in profit this entire trade. You may be tempted to kind of like take profits early here, especially if you start to see price lose its momentum or it's really taking its time getting down to your TP. Again, 3-point difference is not huge, especially when we're risking 35 points. So if you can get 32 points, snag that 32 points. But if you're going to just wait out this entire trade, you're basically in profit the entire time, and then you eventually get that 1R. But again, knowing me, I would definitely snag that 32 points, especially how I see how kind of like slow and just grindy price is approaching my TP. So after reflecting on the day, I should have never taken the two trades back to back like I did. There was one trade which presented around the open, which was a nice rejection off the New York VWAP, which is this trade right here. I could have taken this short. I could have taken this short right here. Or I can also take that short that I just mentioned, which is around this area, whether I want to play the breakout and then retest, or just to break that back down below after we get the confirmation that this is our lower high right there. But again, the secret to success is me being able to take it day by day and just learning by doing these video reviews and just learning from my mistakes. Luckily today I only traded a combine account, but I'm ready to go into next week with 2 instant funded accounts I just got with Top 1 Futures. If you guys want to get your own instant funded accounts or even a challenge account with Top 1 Futures, make sure to use my code MANNY for 50% off all accounts.